Good afternoon and welcome to the 2026 Emzone Radical Cup Canada presented by Michelin. This is race number 1 from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. I'm Dave Bradley. Joined with me is Daniel Zippy Salmon as we get set to present to you a 45-minute timed race for the Emzone Radical Cup Canada presented by Michelin. And Daniel, qualifying was excellent, very tight, and we've seen a few new names in this field, and some of them rising to the top immediately.
Yeah, certainly Evan Cooley in that 22 has been an absolute weapon since he's shown up here at Motorsport, and certainly, you know, it's his first competitive weekend in the car as well. I have a feeling we're going to be seeing a lot from the 22, certainly being able to go home saying he beat an Indy pole sitter. Don't get me wrong, it's pretty cool, but maybe not the most popular approach to joining the paddock.
Yeah, of course, Alex Tagliani will start on the outside of the front row, comes in with a brand new team, and what a setup it is in the paddock, combining forces with Lima Racing and Cedric O'Hayan, and creating a mega team here in the Emzone Radical Cup Canada series. It's just phenomenal to see that paddock and how well things have come together, and you just see the quality of cars coming out of that paddock, but all the other ones too. It's just raised everybody else's game.
Oh, it definitely has. I do think there's definitely going to be some power in numbers, and certainly as well, big fan to see Lima joining with Tag as well, and he's making Tag 1 Motorsport. But the question is certainly I was wondering during qualifying, is it an advantage to have a teammate give you a bit of a draft? And it sounds like it's a little bit of a mixed deal. Down the Andretti straightaway, it is an advantage, but for the rest of the track, you get a little bit of aero wash. You actually need a little bit of space.
Yeah, you do, especially in these high-speed corners for sure. So Evan Cooley will start on pole, Tagliani, then Brady Clapham, Antoine Senechal, and Sidney Castles will round at the top 5 for the pro category. The Masters class will have Daniel Earl, John Painter, Robert Burgess, Hamish Miller, and Stephen Westuba, the defending series champion in the Masters class, will roll out in the top 5, and we'll talk about all of the racers throughout both fields. Again, there's a race within a race, the Masters class and the 1340 Pro, as a couple cars already down pit lane. So problems on the reconnaissance lap as we come up to take the green. Again, it is Evan Cooley in the 22 and Alex Tagliani on the outside, and they'll go side by side into turn number 1.
Yeah, definitely applying a good amount of pressure there. You see Tag trying to keep pinned to the inside of turn 1 as they head up over the crest, heading towards turn 2. Tagliani on the inside.
Yeah, there is the experience of a wily veteran of Tagliani. Pinch him down, and then you use the outside lane to keep up your momentum, and he has the preferred lane through 2, and now will lead single file into turn number 3. At this point, if you're not sorted out single file, you could be in for some trouble. It looks like the entire field has now lined up nose to tail.
Yeah, definitely going to be a very good race for the first time here as they make it way down through Moss Corner. Certainly an absolutely terrifying part of the track. There is a huge dip there, about 300 feet I am to understand, as they make their way up through the turn, and they really, really have to focus on exit speed here to get the most speed they can going down the Andretti straightaway.
Yeah, this is where the draft will pick up for these cars, and they do make a tremendous amount of downforce with that big splitter on the front end, a big high back wing, and the whole car shaped like a big wing. They make a lot of downforce, but they poke a pretty decent hole too, so you do get a draft as Cooley takes a look up on the outside. Can't make it work in turn number 8, but that's an option. Again, he's just sort of sorting the cards in his hand at this point, and will lay them down in a little bit. Don't look too far back though, because there's somebody lurking there in 3rd as well, and that's Brady Clapham, who is so dominant in 2025 and came up just short on a championship season.
Yeah, he is definitely a force to be reckoned with indeed, but certainly thinking about driving these cars, Dave, certainly the tyre temperature, I don't think it's quite going to be there yet. I think we're going to need another couple of laps yet, but don't get me wrong, it's not stopping Evan Cooley. He's applying as much pressure as he possibly can, and don't get me wrong, when you're racing, you're not just racing the track, you're not just racing the car, you are indeed trying to get into the opponent's mind ahead of you.
It's a good look at Atlanta Carter racing out of the Radical Academy, and that's an interesting story too, because there's 2 drivers represented by the Radical Academy. Sidney Castles is the other one. Sidney making her very first start in the Emzone Radical Cup Canada, presented by Michelin here today at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. But that's an all-female run team, right from the top on down to the drivers who are in the seat. it's all female done, and even the mechanics in the pits are all women too. So it's a cool initiative, and to see it play out here and to see them running as fast as they are is absolutely top notch.
I think cool may be a little bit of an understatement. I think it's absolutely incredible to see that. And not only that, they're highly competitive as well. Sydney Castles has proven that she has indeed got great pace, currently in P5 there for the number 3 car.
Let's take a short break. You're watching Emzone Radical Cup Racing on Rev TV. This Emzone Radical Cup event is brought to you by FEL Drives. We create memorable experiences. By Victory Mist, redefining celebration. By FAF Motorsports. And by Michelin, elevate your driving experience.
Sitting in 4th out of the Tag 1 racing group is the 63 of Antoine Seneschal. He's about 1.6 seconds off the last time they crossed the stripe, but top 4 definitely within striking distance of each other. But look at this battle here between Cooley and Tagliani. Tagliani in that red, yellow, and white number 8, and Cooley in the Tooth Autosport prepared number 22, the Shopify-backed Radical, just in behind, and he is just looking for Tagliani to make that minor mistake that he needs to make, just to open the door a little bit. Those mistakes don't come very often from a driver of Tagliani's caliber.
Yeah, certainly. If you're going to try and shake somebody down, a guy of that kind of seasoning and that kind of veteran experience is certainly, you're going to have to work incredibly hard. But don't get me wrong, Brady Clapham is in a very strong position right now back there in P3. He's going to want the number 8 and indeed the number 22 to start battling, because if they do, it could bring him into contention for moving up on the podium.
Brady Clapham won both events here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park during the spring Victoria Day weekend. And then, of course, went on to have a very successful season, coming up just 6 points shy of a championship, coming home second to Kenny Reedman, who was behind the wheel of that 22 Shopify entry. As you saw the 15 Parker Gill get a little crossways coming out of turn number 9. It did not take long for the driver just behind to get by, and that was Chase Peltier in the 12 in the Auto Eclectic backed entry. And we do have a driver off and stopped, and I can't tell where that is. I think it is off in turn number 9, up against the tire wall, well off the racing surface. You can see the flags waving in turn number 10. They're green, indicating that they've passed whatever incident is on the track. So it's a local caution at this point, but I can't see the driver involved. It was one of the drivers towards the tail of the group.
Well, definitely an unfortunate event to be taking part of on that aspect, but certainly we're going to keep an eye out on that there and try and work out exactly who we've lost from the grid. But right now the battle at the front continues. Tagliani currently in the lead as he makes his way down the Andretti straightaway. Evan Cooley applying continuous pressure as well. And don't be wrong, don't be mistaken, even the number 63 there of Antoine Seneschal, he's very much in contention as well, about 1.8 seconds back from the leader.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about that, and it's towards the inside of turn number 9. So car's gone off in the exit of turn number 8, sort of in between turn 8 and turn 9. And that's the reason for the local caution there. You'll see the green flag wave on the exit of turn 10, indicating to the drivers that game on. And now, as I mentioned that, in the very same breath, we do have a full course caution. So obviously track officials saying this car is in a problematic area and they need to get it tended to, and I'm still trying to identify the driver involved. We can't see it from our position in our tower, but it might be the 888.
Yeah, keeping an eye on timing and scoring and kind of looking for a little bit of a hint here, a little bit of a clue as to who we're missing. But right now, this does give the rest of the field a little bit of a breather, time to basically collect themselves. And this could be pretty bad news here for Tagliani. Don't get me wrong, he's managed to find his way up into the front of the pack. but now it's another reset, and indeed it's going to be a restart. Are we going to see some hard charging happening through the field now? I mean, certainly the opportunity is there. Tires are warm. You know, it's back into that comfort zone, Dave. I mean, what would be your approach for this particular strategy?
Yeah, it's going to be all out. There's no pit stops, and that's the beauty of the Emzone Radical Cup Canada presented by Michelin. The Michelin tires that these cars are situated on, super durable. They will maintain a consistent level throughout the entire timed race that these drivers will be taking part in. So it's not a matter of tire degradation. Sure, they do drop off a little bit as they tend to wear out, as you see the track officials tending to the driver. And I believe it's Jesse Lambert in the 95.
Certainly it is indeed. If it is Jesse Lambert, it is his first competitive weekend here. And don't get me wrong, he did indeed actually win the FEL Motorsports Radical Canada Cup over the Winter Series. He won the M-Class division. The guy can drive, but certainly, you know, it's all a learning curve. And don't get me wrong, it might be a harsher lesson for him. But indeed, I believe in the guy. He's going to bounce back. And indeed, I don't think anything's going to stop this guy from driving a car. The determination in this young man.
Yeah, for sure. And a driver who's sort of cut his racing teeth in karting, and then, as you mentioned, and you called the races during the Winter Series, sim racing, online racing, which is, I mean, there are people who will roll their eyes at sim racing and think, well, that's not real racing. It is now. I mean, the technology behind sim rigs and sim racing is just so real. And if you're not using it as a training tool as a race car driver, you're being left behind. And so a driver like Jesse Lambert, who went on to win a championship in the online series, and today, unfortunately, takes a look back at the damaged back end of that race car as he hops out. Looks like he's okay, though.
Yeah, definitely glad to see he's okay. But actually, speaking of sim racing, ladies and gentlemen, if you head on down to the marketplace, head on down and see the FEL store. Obviously, buy some merchandise. It's really good, high-quality gear as well. We got a fresh line just come out. It's almost like a track pattern on a polo shirt, or indeed a T-shirt. That's pretty cool. Or indeed a bucket hat. We also have a hot lap challenge going on, powered by Six Sigma Sim Racing as well. It's located in the FEL Motorsports fan zone, and basically you can have some free sim racing hot laps. You got to beat the benchmark though. That's the goal, and that's been set down by FEL himself, the one and only Mr. Sam Baker, with an absolutely astonishing time. Legend. I felt confident I could beat him. Then I saw the time and quickly I quickly chewed my tongue on that one. But a 1:19.786. And don't get me wrong, if you buy 2+ merch items as well, you get a 50-minute guiding race experience with the Six Sigma staff.
That's pretty fun. As you can see, Hamish Miller in the 41. He's had some issues on that entry today. He's already 2 laps down to the race leader as they try to sort out what is going on with the number 41 car as the bodywork comes off the back end. The engines on these cars in the back end, along with a transaxle transmission. So just to give you an idea of some of the specs behind these cars, they're all identical. They're all powered by 1340cc engines, essentially derived from a motorcycle engine. They're inline 4 cylinders, but because of the power to weight, and if you take all the bodywork off these cars, it's really just a skeleton frame. It's very strong, but it doesn't look like there's much there. Still, they'll do 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in just 3.1 seconds. They pack 226 horsepower-ish, maybe even a little bit more. And by the end of the Andretti straightaway here, they'll be doing about 230+ kilometers an hour as a top speed. So these cars are poking along pretty good. And what makes this series fascinating to me is the age of the race cars don't necessarily dictate how fast they are. You can have an older model radical car and still be very competitive. Kenny Reedman won a championship not too long ago with a car that was nearly 10 years old, which would be unheard of in a lot of different racing series.
Well, I got to say, I am inclined to agree with you, but also on the other side, have you met Kenny Reedman? The man is an absolute machine. Like, the guy can drive. I remember getting a sim race with himself and Mark Boyd back in a former season of the Winter League, and the guy was pretty much untouchable. And don't get me wrong, I believe he holds a lap record here as well in a Radical.
Yeah, he does. In qualifying, a 119.979 was the lap record. Jake Cowden, back from 2023, as a matter of fact. Great year for young driver Jake Cowden, who went on to race different levels, including GT4, after running in the Radicals. 120.021 was his lap record during a race. So 2 different records in qualifying. and race. But yeah, you're right. Kenny Reedman does hold the qualifying record.
I do actually. You mentioned Jake Cowden. I've raced alongside this guy on the sim. I'm like, oh my gosh, my eyes just lit up. But if we want to start a little bit of friendly rivalry, so Kenny Reedman's time, he said, was a 1:19.9. So Kenny Reedman, I do believe you should go onto the sim and go and beat Sam Baker, because his time on the sim was a 1:17.786. Nothing that I'll admit, we kind of encourage a little bit of friendly rivalry here between the drivers.
Yeah, absolutely. It would be fun to see that, get the drivers in on the sim and see if they can translate fast lap times on the track to fast lap times on the sim as well. Right now, it's Alex Tagliani who is out in front of the field in the pro class. Evan Cooley also in the pro class in the 22. He's sitting second. Brady Clapham and Antoine Seneschal are the top 4. Sydney Castles rounds out the top 5. Her very first start in that number 3 in the Emzone Radical Cup Canada, presented by Michelin. So she's having a very, very good day in that Radical Academy. Number 3, sitting in 5th spot right now.
Let's take a short break. You're watching Emzone Radical Cup Racing on Rev TV. And welcome back to Emzone Radical Racing from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.
And we jump down to try and see where the Masters class is lining up. It appears as though John Painter is tops in the Masters class right now, sitting in 8th in the 9 car. And Robert Burgess in 10th place, second in the Masters class. Stephen Westubel around at the top 3 in Masters in the number 99. Great new look to the Stephen Westubel entry this year as well. Brand new bodywork after winning the championship last year.
Well, that's definitely what a way to celebrate. You know what, we want it in this car. Let's do it in a different colored car. You know, why not, right? But certainly myself, I'll admit, it's a biased opinion. The Lima Racing cars, indeed the Tag 1 cars, they may have a Pit Road Productions logo on it. I'm definitely going to be a little bit biased on that, and indeed I'm very grateful for that as well. But certainly, again, keep an eye out on the fan thing. I do think that there was a fan that got to go out in the pace car as well. I'm hoping we can find out who it was, but certainly what an experience, ladies and gentlemen, to go out in a pace car. They're going to be doing that tomorrow as well. To do that, you've got to go and basically, you got to do this thing called Instagram. I'm a little bit of an old man at heart. Dave, I don't know if you're good with Instagram. I can't figure it out. Getting there. Okay, so between the two of us, we can try and guide you on that one, but certainly you got to go and take a picture of yourself trackside here and then tag FEL Motorsports in it, and indeed follow them as well. It could be you in the passenger seat of a Radical Green driven by Chris By.
That is very cool. Opportunity of a lifetime for sure right here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Again, I'm Dave Bradley, joined by Daniel Zippy Salmon as we present race number 1 of the 2026 Emzone Radical Cup Canada, presented by Michelin from right here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. There you see your current Masters leader, and that's John Painter. And what's interesting, he's the only one with the Aussie flag on the tail wing. You'll see a lot of Canadian flags. You know, every once in a while, at different races of the year, you might see an American flag at times, and John Painter, the only one flying the Aussie colors, and right now tops in the Masters class.
Well, certainly I did actually have a good chat with Mark Boyd when I first arrived here, and certainly he's feeling pretty confident that indeed the Masters battle is going to be under the Auto Eclectic tent. So certainly I did get to meet John Painter, and indeed he's a lovely man. To be fair, actually all the drivers have been really, really friendly. Certainly good for fan interaction as well. The drivers, especially, you know, interacting with the fans, and it's good because a lot of people come here and they're meeting heroes. And certainly, I remember seeing Cedric be saying like, "I have fans now." And it's like, yeah, man, you do. But certainly, I do have to wonder, you know, like, he gets called the crazy Aussie, and certainly, don't get me wrong, he's standing out. But I think it was an incident at one of the Quebec tracks, indeed, which got him that label. But certainly, he's not afraid to drive the car. We'll put it like that.
Yeah. Many of these drivers are drivers who will put their head down and just get going, and that's what makes this Radical Cup so exciting. And with so many new faces, new drivers, and that has to be a tribute to the work that the group at FEL Motorsports have done in the off season. Of course, through the middle part of last year, they announced that there was going to be a prize money, a significant prize money up for grabs here in 2026, $100,000 over the course of the season, which makes this the richest Radical series in North America, well, in the world, really, because for the most part, other main Radical series, and even if you look down at the U.S., they'll run for incentives. So, I mean, you get a deal on parts, or you get tires for free, or something like that. Here in Canada, these drivers are running for cold, hard cash. And you can see Sponsor Me, and definitely needed for Jesse Lambert here for the driver of the 95 as some damage to the back end. The good news, these cars are very robust. And they do hold up very well, even in the event you do get into a minor mix-up like that. So yeah, the back wing's broken off, but it can be fixed relatively easily.
Yeah, definitely, and it definitely is. It's got that halo on it as well, so something that does definitely help. But a fun fact for you, Dave: these cars are actually built over in Peterborough, England, which nobody here is really going to know or care about. And that's fair. That's okay.
We have our own Peterborough.
Yeah, you got your own version. I mean, is it the original? Is it the knockoff? I'm not a history buff, so actually you want Dominic St. John for that. He is definitely a history buff. But certainly for me, that was like an hour and a half from where I grew up, and it's one of the things as I look back, like I lived in Ottawa for 5 years, there's a whole hub of motorsport in Ottawa. And it's kind of like, I'm finding everything out late, so honestly it's an honor to be here. But certainly I look at that and it doesn't matter whose car's running. I can take pride in that. I mean, there may not be any Union Jacks on the cars. I understand that. And I'm in Canada now. Let's keep rocking the Maple Leaf. But certainly it's a very proud moment as well. It's a good reason to be patriotic at this point.
Yeah, and realistically, there's so many of these cars currently in use around the world, and that's what makes the series so unique. Is in some cases there's different engine packages. Here in Canada, we run the same engine package throughout Pro and Masters, so it's all cars are identical. The only difference between the Pros and the Masters is the age of the driver, essentially. And so sometimes the young, hungry Lions want to fight a little bit harder than the quote-unquote gentleman drivers, and that's what you get the Masters class for. And those drivers will slide back into the Masters class and may not run as aggressively, but usually put on a very good show in that Masters class for sure. As we go back to green, 18 minutes currently completed as a cleanup is done in turn number 9. Tagliani leads the single file restart in through turn number 1 and headed towards turn number 2.
You can see that Evan Cooley looking to try and make a move on the inside of turn 2 as they go side by side, applying pressure almost right front split. It's a left rear wheel here, and look at Brady Clapham. You can see that halo may all of a sudden become a cross as he looks to try and make a move here on the inside of Cooley. Don't get me wrong, I think they could go free wide, but I certainly would not suggest it as they make their way down towards Moss Corner.
That was a long caution period, so any warmth that they had in these Michelin tires likely dissolved, and now as Cooley takes a look to the inside under hard braking in turn number 5, decides to back out, but it is fairly risky right now as you continue to build that heat back up. Those tires now have a heat cycle. It's going to be a little bit more difficult to bring them back up to proper operating temperature, and Tagliani right now in the catbird seat as another one of the Tag 1 machines down pit lane.
Yeah, that's definitely not the outcome that they're looking for, but don't get me wrong, the flagship car, the number 8, is currently doing what it does best. Ladies and gentlemen, he's currently out there in the lead, but Evan Cooley very much got a lot to say about that, and he's been aggressive this entire race, like qualifying pace as well. That's absolutely incredible, right? Obviously, this is going to be someone we need to keep an eye on as well. Don't get me wrong, Tagliani running not just this, he's running NASCAR Canada as well. I mean, the man is redefining the term multitasking at this point, but certainly he's under pressure right now from the young upcoming star that is Evan Cooley.
Well, Tagliani, there's no quit to that guy. I mean, he runs a very successful business in the Montreal area. He's running 2 different race cars and for the most part teams this weekend as we hit the halfway point. That's the cross flags indicating that we've come up to the 20-minute mark of this 40-minute timed race for the Emzone Radical Cup Canada presented by Michelin.
Let's take a quick break. We'll return to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. And welcome back to Emzone Radical Racing from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.
So just a courtesy to the driver saying you've made it halfway, and now the push starts for a driver like Evan Cooley. And Cooley is one of those really special young drivers who's making his way up through the motorsports ranks. He's running for Exclusive Autosport in the USF 2000 class, and 2 podiums and a top 5 at his last start at Indianapolis. So you know he's a very competitive driver behind the wheel, but he's taken to these Emzone Radical Cup cars just like a fish to water here this weekend. Just jumps right in and goes fast off the back.
Well, don't get me wrong, if you compare the 2 cars, a open wheeler and a Radical, there is some similarities. Obviously bodywork's not one of them, but they're both quite a high downforce car, and I think it's a very transferable skill. Certainly if you go onto the Radical and the Sim, and I'm sorry I relate to that lot, that's the experience I have, but it's almost unnerving. The cornering speed's capable of these cars. You don't expect it to stick, and it just keeps going. Certainly I was asking him like how he's adapted to it. He says, I basically point it and it goes. Not only that, a fantastic job by the team of 2 Motorsports, Travis Hill, for getting this out of. And he was saying with the new softer compound, they have had to make adjustments. Indeed, there is a lot of moving parts to the equation.
Yeah, I've been told in the past that the harder you push these Radical Cup cars, the happier they are. So if you drive them easy, then you may not have as a comfortable line through the corners, but push them hard, you get that downforce working for you as the cars work through some lap traffic. And now here comes Cooley back to the inside again. Tagliani leaves that door open just a little bit, enough that Cooley gets interested, but not enough that he can stuff a pass in there. It would be a very aggressive pass if he was to put it in there. He just needs to be up a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely a game of risk versus reward. That was Dennis LaRue who was coming out of pit lane in the number 23, his first weekend in a Radical as well. Something he did get I believe it's a Cayman GT4 if I'm not mistaken. And he, ladies and gentlemen, we'll say it, he's upgraded, ladies and gentlemen. He's upgraded to one of these beautiful Radicals, but right now he's going to sit there, appearing in 4th, but not quite there. But we do have a fastest lap right now by the number 2 car. That's Alana Carter, ladies and gentlemen, 123.319. So certainly race pace, not quite the same as qualifying as of yet.
Not quite yet, but Alana Carter does have clear air in front of her. She's being hounded from behind by Parker Gill. He's right in the wash behind that. Actually, no, that's Sydney Castles who Parker Gill is chasing. Alana Carter just in behind them as the 2 car with the Emzone colors on it just chasing. So it's a 3-car tow, and she's at the back of that 3-car tow, so she's getting the benefit of picking up the draft from 2 cars in front as Parker Gill takes a look inside in turn number 3 and decides to slot back in single file.
Oh, this is where the soft skills that you learn over in Formula 1600 are really going to come into play. And don't get me wrong, they're disappointed to see him go, but certainly, you know, you've got to help but cheer for the guy as we take a look back at the lead battle. Ladies and gentlemen, Evan Cooley has been so aggressive there. That's number 63. That's Anton Seneschal. He's there. He's pretty potent as well. I believe he ran the parts, but don't quote me on it as well. But realistically, we have a 4-car pack trying to break away for the lead.
Brady Clapton with new colors, the GTA Exotics backing on the 77. He ran the Emzone colors last year, but same number in the 77, just different colors here. But looking to get the same results as he had in 2025, where he picked up 2 victories in the opening weekend of the Emzone Radical Cup Canada season. Unfortunately, right now sitting in a podium position, just not the top of the podium where he would like to be. He's had opportunities, but again, it's a logjam at the front. When everybody is going at the same pace, it's difficult to find that opening. As a matter of fact, of the top 3, Brady Clapham has the quickest time in recent laps.
So actually, speaking of quickest time, for a minute there, David Daniel Earl went and took it, but indeed Alana Carter, bless, she got the memo. Indeed, has answered back from 122.812, so the pace is getting quicker by the lap.
Yeah, Alana Carter sitting in 7th, but turning in very, very quick laps. Still 4 seconds back of the leader, and that is your leader, Alex Tagliani, Saint-Hubert. Colored number 8, followed by the Shopify number 22 of Evan Cooley, and then the 77 of Brady Clapham, and they realistically are all covered by a blanket. Like, that is one small mistake, and all 3 of those positions could change.
Well, as you say that, we've got a little bit of side-by-side going on in action there, and I believe that's number 1 of Robert Burgess' lead. Is that Stephen Masuba, who's just got his way ahead.
Just ahead, and John Painter not too far ahead of that as well in the number 9. So 9th, 10th, and 11th on track as Painter leads with Stuba and Robert Burgess. And looking through the list, that's the lead for the Masters class as well.
Yeah, it looks like Alana kind of still holding on to that fastest lap. But look at that. That's Parker Gill now applying even more pressure to the back of Sydney Castles there as they make their way around turn number 10. And then we've got another full car pack as well. You see there, Robert Burgess now, he's going to have to work that little bit harder if he wants to find his way back ahead of the 99.
This is a fun race for the Masters class, and this is what we talked about, right? It's a race within a race. So sure, we're looking at this great battle for the lead overall between Alex Tagliani and Evan Cooley, but then you just have to look a little bit further back, 9th, 10th, and 11th, and there you've got a great battle for the lead in the Masters class, and that'll be a top step of the podium. Whoever finishes ahead in that 3-car group, and it is a 3-car group deeper in the field. As you take a look, this is still Sydney Castles and Parker Gill, along with Lana Carter. So 2 out of those 3 cars racing out of the Radical Academy, an all-female group, both mechanics, drivers, and management, essentially, behind that team, and running all inside the top 10 right now. As a matter of fact, 5th and 7th for the Radical Academy.
Well, it's fair to say it's definitely working, Dave.
I would think so, yeah.
Definitely working.
It's interesting to see, though, a lot more cars this year with the halo at the front of the chassis, essentially in front of the cockpit. And some of the drivers are saying, I need it for safety. I just feel more comfortable with it on the car. And other drivers are saying it might be actually a performance advantage. It's a possible change for the lead here. Cooley dives to the inside in turn number 1. Tagliani again with that momentum and will able to hold him off. But that's going to slow down the second place car. Can Brady Clapham take advantage? He'll close the gap a little bit. No change at the top. So that was close. And as I was mentioning, with the halo, it could be a little bit more of a torsion bar to make the front of the chassis a little bit more rigid, and could affect overall stability of the car as well. So some are using it not only for safety, but a performance advantage as well.
Yeah, certainly for myself, I probably would want to run a halo. You're in an open cockpit car, having that little bit of extra protection means that you can not care a little bit less, but feel a little more comfortable. And certainly myself, I would be a big fan of that. But don't get me wrong, Evan Cooley there absolutely flirting with the curb there on turn 1, and indeed he's managed to get away with it. But certainly Tagliani having to work very hard to keep the 22 behind.
Cooley just went quickest out of anybody. At 1:22.08 was that last lap time for the number 22. In second spot, Tagliani continues to lead. Brady Clapham chasing in third spot in the 77. But this is very much a 3-horse race at the front of the field. The number 63 of Antoine Seneschal has fallen back just a little bit. Sydney Castles, as we spoke about, was in that 3-car battle for 5th. So just off a little bit. And there's the battle for top spots in the Masters class, as Stephen Westuba has fallen back just a little bit, and now it is Robert Burgess and John Painter. Now Parker Gill. This is for 5th. Gill in the 15 will get around Sydney Castles, and look at Alana Carter up on the outside. On the outside of turn 2. That's an ambitious move out there for sure, as the turn 2, if you've ever even walked on it, you know it sort of tilts to the outside and wants to drive you off the racetrack. So to put your car out there, you are definitely using every bit of your bravery.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of an off-camber corner there as well, and certainly here on the drivers as well. It's a really hard thing to try and adjust to, but certainly the track conditions are constantly evolving. Certainly the NASCAR Canada stuff putting down a healthy amount of rubber, but actually finding it's going to be quite slippery as well. Certainly the 1600 certainly finding it an interesting challenge as well. As we see there a move up the inside of the fight back, Robert Burgess said, no thank you, I'm having that back from Daniel Earl. Indeed moves his way up into the top 10.
So Daniel Earl in that battle as well. And a new look livery for Daniel Earl this year. Previous years, he's been running with a predominantly green livery. This year, changing to more of a blue and black paint scheme on the 39. As we take a look once again, Sydney Castles has dropped back just a little bit. Again, Castles in the 3-car was running in 5th until that last lap by. Now Parker Gill up into 5th spot. Alana Carter promoted into 6th, but still a very, very tight battle at the front of the field between Alex Tagliani and Evan Cooley.
Yeah, I don't have a feeling that Evan Cooley's quite done yet. Indeed, Brady Clapham, I think, is going for the low-risk, high-reward at this point. He can see these two battling, and don't get me wrong, if the opportunity presents itself, 100% he's going to go for it. But indeed, he's applying a good, healthy amount of pressure, and I think that would be the right strategy I'd go with. Stay with the lead pack, let them duke it out, and if you're going to make a move, do it in the final stages of this race.
Now we're coming up on 10 minutes to go now for your race leader, Alex Tagliani. the Montreal area. Evan Cooley, all the way up from the United States, a normal runner in the USF 2000, and making his debut here in the Emzone Radical Cup Canada. Sat on pole, and as a matter of fact, he sat on pole by a wide margin. His quick time in qualifying was 0.4 of a second quicker than Alex Tagliani, who sat on the outside of the front row. But it was Alex Tagliani. He used that veteran knowledge, the home track knowledge here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. He's got so many laps around here. And Tagliani snuck in and stole away top spot, and that's exactly where he's been planted since the drop of the green and lap number 1.
Indeed, he's definitely in the advantage right now, but certainly myself as a driver, I think I would rather be in the shoes of the 22. Don't get me wrong, second place is not quite as cool as first, but realistically, he can just keep applying pressure here to the back of the number 8 car, and certainly some drivers, I don't think Tagliani for a second is going to be one of them, but certainly watch the mirrors as he goes up on the inside yet again, making an attempt here. Pass, we've got a little bit of lap traffic there ahead, and now Brady Clapham comes into play in the number 77.
Yeah, Clapham's going to try and make that run down into turn number 4, and he will have the preferred line to the inside. They'll go side by side through 4. Now look at Cooley outbrake into turn number 5. What a hold by the driver of the 22, Evan Cooley, as the 888 pulls to the outside and lets the leaders go through. And that is a big-time gentleman move from the driver of the 888. That's Daniel Mongrain, who saw the leaders come through. He pulled up on the outside of turn 5B and let the leaders pass through. But wow, what a move by Evan Cooley. He had Brady Clapham on the inside in the preferred line, high-speed corner in turn number 4. They drag race up into turn number 5, and he said, not today, and held on to that spot.
That was absolutely incredible, Dave. We've got to be honest. Definitely, I don't know about these guys, but I'm certainly feeling the tension here in the commentary booth. And that's not Dave's fault. That's just sheer anticipation of watching this fantastic racing we've got here at Motorsport. But right now, Tagliani still holding on to the lead. Brady Clapham, he has dropped back a little bit. I'd say still within the slipstream range for sure. And indeed, Antoine Seneschal, he is very much out of the draft at this point. Indeed, I do have to wonder if Parker Gill can find a little bit of extra pace and apply pressure there to find his way up into P4. But Evan Cooley, he's certainly been making some waves here at Motorsport this weekend. Indeed, looking to try and find his way on the top step of the podium, but a former veteran, or indeed a current veteran, standing in his way.
Now, Parker Gill is about 3.5 seconds back of Antoine Seneschal, so he'll need some pretty magical laps to close that gap, or potentially a caution. But at this point, any caution might equal the end of this one. We only have about 8 minutes left in this 40-minute timed race for the Emzone Radical Cup Canada, presented by Michelin. Race number 1 in the 2026 season.
Let's take a quick break. We'll return to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. And welcome back to Emzone Radical Racing from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.
Race number 1 in the 2026 season, and it has been very, very good. I mean, we've had lots of pressure at the front in both the Pro and the Masters class, and we continue to have that pressure. And it's been a long time since we've seen a driver maintain pressure on the race leader in the Emzone Radical Cup Canada, presented by Michelin, for this long. Normally it's a short period of time and then they sort of get spread out, but this year it looks like it's going to be dynamite.
Yeah, definitely. The closer the racing is, honestly, the better it is to watch. It's an absolute treat here for the spectators as well. And indeed, thank you all for coming out as well. Indeed, for the marshals as well. We can't do this without the marshals. Indeed, like, people often wonder, is it just the drivers? There's so much more that goes into this. And certainly, you know, Tag would know all about running a team. Like, look at Tag One Motorsport. The thing's been growing. I mean, was it 6 teams now?
Yep, 7 cars under the tent this weekend, which is fantastic. I mean, combining with the Lima Motorsports this weekend, Tag, of course, coming through with a bunch of new cars just getting delivered, you know, just weeks ago, as a matter of fact, and having to get those squared away, get them painted up in their proper schemes, and then bringing them out here to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. And then look at, you've got 2 of those cars in the top 4. Tagliani leading, and Antoine Seneschal out of that same tent running in 4th spot. There's Parker Gill, still has his hands full with Alana Carter, who is found great speed here. So a little bit of a slow start to the race in that number 2, the Emzone back to number 2, but Alana Carter definitely has found her feet through the second half of this 40-minute timed race, and now starting to march her way up through the field and putting pressure on for 5th to the inside in turn number 8. Parker Gill's going to use that downforce and hang on.
Indeed, as they make their way down towards the penultimate corner, now to the final corner, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to see them go absolutely blasting. That's so cool. Past the commentary box, ladies and gentlemen, as they make their way down across the start finish. And certainly, one of the things talking to some of these drivers is there is a lot of going flat through here. Like, it's absolutely like, I've done it in the sim. I'm pretty keen, but a whole other level of bravery involved, and certainly looking to try and make a move here. On the inside goes Alana Carter. Is she going to make it stick here? Parker Gill is he's disappeared. Never mind. But certainly, definitely applying some pressure there. Back for P number 5.
Yeah, you see the pressure at the front of the field. So there's battles all over the place. That's the beauty of this series this year. Again, you've got Evan Cooley battling for first overall with the 8 of Alex Tagliani. It's been the same story for 35 minutes now. We've had Tagliani getting a little crossways. So again, maybe those Michelin tires are starting to get a little bit tired for the driver of the 8 of Alex Tagliani, as he's had to fight every step of the way to keep that 22 behind. And Evan Cooley didn't wiggle quite as big as the 8.
Well, indeed, not only that, Evan Cooley in the 22 has just gone and posted the fastest lap time of the race, ladies and gentlemen, on 1:21.461, about 3 tenths, 2.5 tenths quicker than Tagliani right now. But don't get me wrong, Tagliani punching a beautiful radical shaped hole in the air for him. And indeed, Brady Clapham still very much in the mix as well. Anton Seneschal has fallen back a little bit there, but certainly I have a feeling we're going to see a freeway fight all the way to the end.
The thing is, the top 4 drivers have just posted their fastest laps of the race. This late in the going, you think, well, those Michelin tires, they must be giving up. At this point, they're performing even better than they did at the beginning of this race. So they're nice and hot, they're good and sticky, and the drivers are pushing. Now, with under 5 minutes to go in the 40-minute timed race for the Emzone Radical Cup Canada, presented by Michelin.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. Indeed, battles happening throughout the field, and that's exactly what you want to see in a race series. Nobody's really dominating this at this point. Nobody's scored points at this point. We've had qualifying. Indeed, Evan Cooley able to, I wouldn't say surprise the field, but certainly turn a few heads in the process. But right now, he's going up against some greatness, ladies and gentlemen. Tagliani, indeed, sponsored by St. Hubert. At least you know where the guy wants to eat. I can get on board with edible sponsors, ladies and gentlemen, but certainly he is applying, having all sorts of pressure applied here by the 22. And indeed, Brady Clapham, I have a feeling he's got a little bit closer this lap by.
Yeah, drafting down the back straightaway. In through turn number 7, you see it's a little kink in the Mario Andretti straightaway. That is actually officially a turn to the inside at turn number 8. Bit ambitious there for Evan Cooley, but at this point he's willing to try anything to try and rattle the race leader, Alex Tagliani, in the 8. Tagliani hangs on to it. As a matter of fact, builds a little bit of a gap as they cross the stripe and will lead once again. Under 3 minutes to go now for your race leader, Tagliani. Look at the momentum Cooley has. Off of turn number 1, he catches at the wrong spot, though, because he'll need to dive down to the inside in turn number 2 and try to keep that momentum up into turn number 3. Here he goes, diving to the inside, crashing off the rumble strip to the inside. They're side by side, they touch. Both hang on to it. Tagliani got a big wiggle, and he'll lose not only second, potentially, or not just the lead, potentially even second, and he will as Clapham comes through and takes advantage of that contact between Evan Cooley and Alex Tagliani. So race leader since the drop of the green, now back into 3rd spot.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Brady Clapham was waiting for. He could see that indeed the oven was preheated, the chicken dinner was in, and indeed it was just about ready to catch fire, and indeed he was able to capitalize on that. But now we can see an opportunity here for Evan Cooley. Can he take this advantage and try and pull away? Lap traffic is ahead, and certainly if he catches out the wrong point of the track, he may find himself in a freeway fight for the lead.
Well, Tagliani's got to be fired up inside that cockpit right now, but unfortunately Brady Clapham is in the middle, and his fight is not with the 77 of Brady Clapham. He was just a beneficiary of that contact between the 22 and the 8 as the white flag is flown. One more lap to go for your new race leader, Evan Cooley. In the 22, now Brady Clapham holds on to 2nd, Alex Tagliani in the 3rd, Antoine Seneschal in 4th spot. If you look back to the Masters class, still John Painter, Robert Burgess, and Daniel Earl, your top 3. Let's take another look at this pass.
Oh, absolutely beautiful move there. You see there, he's going to make the late dive. It's catching him a little bit by surprise there. Goes up on the inside, rubs a little bit on the curve. You see that a little bit of understeer. Catches Tagliani on the right rear corner. Indeed, Brady Clapham says, thank you very much. Sneaks on through and indeed keeps the power all the way to the floor and makes the pass right Moss corner.
Yeah, it looks like just the curbing unsettled the car a little bit, and that was all it took to make that contact with Tagliani. It didn't look like it was overly aggressive. It was an aggressive move, but he needed to make that aggressive move. It didn't look malicious, I should say, in contact to root out the 8 car. Just tough racing on a very tight corner, and the 22 pushes through for the race lead as they work their way through the final set of corners. In through turn number 8 for the final time. And now 9, it's Cooley with Clapham in his shadow as they pass through turn number 10. They'll see the checkered flag this time. Winner of race number 1 in 2026, the 22 of Evan Cooley.
Well, what a way to start a season, Dave. Indeed, absolutely fantastic. And as you said, it's definitely good being the commentator because we're not the guy who make the decision of, was that move okay? I abstain all hands from that.
Looking at the Masters class as they come through their final set of corners. It is the one of Robert Burgess who has managed to get around the number 9 of John Painter. Now Daniel Earl is pressuring Painter, but Burgess powers off turn number 10, and he will win in the Masters class. Arm up in celebration as he comes across the start-finish line. Painter will come home second, and Daniel Earl in third.
Well, definitely going to be wondering, like Painter for a little while. He had that in the bag. Something must have happened on that last lap. And indeed, Robert Burgess, he's no slouch behind the wheel. Definitely taking advantage of that. Says thank you very much. Sneaks on by. But I've got to say, huge congratulations there to the driver of the 22. And indeed, what an absolutely phenomenal battle. Like, we were spoiled for on-track action.
Let's take a quick break. We'll return to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. And welcome back to Emzone Radical Racing from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.
And so a big congratulations to Evan Cooley, Brady Clapham in second, and Alex Tagliani. Those 3 had a huge dice in the pro class. Santuan Seneschal, rookie Parker Gill coming out of the Formula 1600 ranks. And we will send it down trackside to Clinton in the Victory Mist celebration zone.
Evan, what a drive here. You know, your first start, your first Radical win. You beat one of the best here in Tagliani. Talk about your day for us.
Yeah, it was a great race. It was really close the whole time. You know, we were really close. Got him there in the end in turn 3, dove it down his inside. And yeah, just great race. I want to thank my team. They were the ones behind it. It was a super last minute deal, but maybe we'll have to come back for some more races later this season.
Solid drive. You got to be pleased.
Yeah, thank you.
Evan Cooley, guys, picks up his first win in his first start here with the Radicals.
And so a big congratulations to Robert Burgess, your winner in the Masters class, with John Painter coming home second, with Daniel Earl and Stephen Westuba.
Here's Robert Burgess. Robert, great run here, Masters winner at Radicals. CTMP is always a great place to win.
Yeah, exactly. That was a tremendous race. Had a great battle all day long with John Painter and Dan Earl. Stephen Westuba was in there. Passed John for the lead on the last lap. He made a little mistake in 4. I got underneath him. And yeah, won the race. It's a fantastic feeling. Great day.
Good job. Robert Burgess will grab the Masters win here. Evan Cooley picks up the Radicals.
This Emzone Radical Cup event has been brought to you by FEL Drives. We create memorable experiences. By Victory Mist, redefining celebration. By Emzone Auto Care, premium quality products for the maintenance, care, and cleaning of cars. And by Michelin, elevate your driving experience.
A huge thank you to everybody involved, indeed to Dave Jeffries and indeed Clinton Bradley as well, the pit lane report, indeed everybody out there in the stands. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching round 1 here at Motorsport, and by all means hit the follow on Instagram for FEL Motorsports.